If you're struggling with poor Wi-Fi signal, this can seem like a difficult problem to solve. So today, we've looked at 3 of the best ways to fix your Wi-Fi, to get better speeds at long distance, and overcome any dead spots you're experiencing. But before we begin, if you have an Android phone, download our Wi-Fi signal checker app, which we've linked to in the description, to measure your Wi-Fi signal throughout the house and find out what's causing the problems with your Wi-Fi. So before we get started with the troubleshooting techniques, we wanted to run through how you can use our signal checking app to find out what problems with your Wi-Fi you're experiencing. Once you install the app, which you can do with the link in the description, it'll give you a live score of your Wi-Fi signal strength on a scale from 0 to 100. You can expect a score of about 90 to 100 when you're standing right by the router, and if you get about 15 to 20 or less, you'll probably see your connection begin to drop out. You can use the app in conjunction with speed tests to map out where your dead spots are. So what we recommend doing is walk around the house and see where your signal is dropping off. This can help you find dead spots and obstacles that are blocking your Wi-Fi signal, like brick internal walls, which often cause problems with Wi-Fi, helping you figure out which solutions are best that we've explained later in the video to solve the problems you're experiencing with your Wi-Fi. It's also important to note, signal is not exactly correlated with the download speed you'll experience. With some routers, particularly newer ones with Wi-Fi 6 or 7, you can sometimes still get good download speeds, even if your signal score is about 20 or so, because more modern Wi-Fi standards are better at giving you faster download speeds even on weak signal. Just something to keep in mind as you begin troubleshooting your connection. So now you have an idea where your Wi-Fi is dropping off and what might be causing it, you can begin solving the problems you're experiencing. The easiest way to improve your Wi-Fi, and the thing we recommend trying first, is switching the Wi-Fi channels that your router is using. If you live in a pretty busy area with a lot of properties and Wi-Fi networks around, it's important that your router is using a channel that isn't getting too much interference. Most Wi-Fi routers are pretty good at choosing the right channels to connect to automatically. For example, we're using EE Broadband at the moment, and when we set up their Smart Hub Plus router, it chose good channels to use for both its 2.4 and 5 GHz bands. But when we tested the Fritzbox 7530AX more recently, we found it put the 5 GHz band on a congested channel, and we got better speeds over distance by changing to a higher channel number. It is worth knowing though, on 5 GHz in particular, if you live somewhere close to where there's active radar going on, like an airport or a weather station, it might not be a good idea to use a higher channel than 48, because these can be used by radar. So if radar is using the same frequencies, your router might automatically change back to a different channel to avoid interfering with it, which is probably why the Fritzbox and some other routers don't use higher 5 GHz channels by default. To change channels, most Wi-Fi router firmware will show you which channels are being used by other routers in the area and allow you to switch them manually once you log into the admin settings. But you can also use the Wi-Fi Analyzer app on your phone to see what channel usage is like in your area if your router doesn't visualize this for you. By default, most broadband providers will set up your router by the front door, where your broadband comes into the property. But as you'll see using our signal checker app, if you walk from the front door to a bedroom or something like that, your Wi-Fi signal score can drop off pretty quickly. So to get better Wi-Fi, you might like to reposition your router somewhere more central in the house by buying a longer Ethernet cable to connect it to your phone socket or broadband port. What you want is a 10 to 15 meter or so Cat 7 or Cat 8 Ethernet cable you can run from the front door to somewhere else you'll put the router. The most difficult thing about this is just putting the cable somewhere. You might be able to run it under the carpet, under a skirting board, or maybe along the ceiling, though you might want a white colored cable if you're going to be doing something like that. Another good way to improve your signal, which also requires a bit of investment, but is a bit easier than running Ethernet cables everywhere, is to upgrade your Wi-Fi tech. The first thing to think about is how updated your router is. We used to use the BT Smart Hub 2 and had nothing but problems with it in a 4-bedroom, 2-story house, including frequent Wi-Fi dropouts further away from the router, and pretty poor speeds as well. But when we switched to EE broadband and began using their Wi-Fi 6 Smart Hub Plus router, these problems were basically fixed overnight, and we can now get the full speed from our connection, 150 megabit download speed, in the back garden on the opposite side of the house from the router. So if you're using a pretty outdated router and you're considering switching broadband provider to get an upgrade, click the link in the description to the EE broadband website to see what deals they're offering at the moment. But if you already have a decent Wi-Fi router and you're still finding Wi-Fi dead spots using our Signal Checker app, you might want to use Mesh Wi-Fi instead. These are just extra Wi-Fi nodes that connect wirelessly to your Wi-Fi router and then extend your hotspot, meaning everything is still on the same Wi-Fi network. You don't need to log in to multiple different hotspots, helping you fix Wi-Fi dead zones in your house. These can be really helpful if you notice that a brick wall or something is blocking your Wi-Fi signal, or if your Wi-Fi router is by the front door, meaning you don't get good signal upstairs, or on the opposite side of the house from the router. Mesh Wi-Fi is generally pretty cheap to buy, unless you need 3 or more nodes, or you want Wi-Fi 7. But Wi-Fi 6 options like these from TP-Link are plenty good for most households. As long as you don't need really fast Ethernet, you can see each node comes with 2 Ethernet ports, but they only support 100 megabits per second. So if you want faster Ethernet speeds, you might like to use something like the Amazon Eero 6 Plus, though it will be a bit more expensive. But we've linked to some Mesh Wi-Fi options on Amazon in the description if you want to check these products out in more detail. If our signal checking app is showing decent Wi-Fi signal throughout the house, maybe because you're using Mesh already, it could be that you don't have enough bandwidth for your needs, resulting in poor Wi-Fi performance, especially when a lot of people get online at the same time. We have an internet speed needs calculator, which we've linked in the description, where you can put in some details about your household and how you use the internet, and once you click calculate, you'll get a rough idea of what download and upload speed you might need as a minimum. This is most likely to be the problem if your Wi-Fi issues are quite sporadic, like if you're getting good signal throughout the day, but it's absolutely terrible in the evening when everyone at home gets online. In this case, you might like to upgrade your connection to get faster speeds, including over Wi-Fi. But there's one other potential edge case here that could be causing your problems. Sometimes you might already have ultra-fast broadband, like a 300, 500 or 900 megabit plan, but are still getting really poor performance over Wi-Fi when a lot of people get online. This is most likely to be the case if you're still using quite an old Wi-Fi 5 router, like the BT Smart Hub 2, which they're still shipping to new customers, or the Virgin Media Hub 3. Newer Wi-Fi standards like Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7 perform much better when there's a lot of devices online at the same time. So if this is what's happening to you, you might need to upgrade your router and potentially use Mesh if you have a larger house. So thanks for watching, and remember, click the link in the description to download our Wi-Fi Signal Checker app if you have an Android phone to measure your Wi-Fi signal at home and see where your Wi-Fi dead spots are. And if you're looking to change broadband providers to one with a really good range of Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7 routers, click the link in the description to the EE broadband deals page to see what prices they're offering at the moment. And if you have any questions about improving your Wi-Fi signal, let us know in the comments below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.